Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for today's live webinar. I'm Marta, Marketing Manager at Flywire, and I'll be your moderator for this session. Before we get started, just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded, and we'll share the recording and key takeaways with you afterwards. Feel free to send your questions at any time using the Q&A session, and we'll cover them towards the end. And while we wait for everyone to settle in, say hello in the chat and let us know where you're joining from. We're joined today by three fantastic speakers. First, we have Tanya, Vice President at Flywire, who spent over a decade working with admissions teams from top business schools and universities, helping them build digital admission journeys that convert applicants into enrolled students. Next is Javier, Strategic Partnership Manager at Flywire, bringing his expertise on how institutions can simplify and scale payments processes globally. And finally, and most importantly, we have Emily, Head of International Recruitment, Promotion and Admissions at IESEG School of Management, who leads the strategy and execution behind attracting and selecting students from around the world. Today, we'll explore how universities can create a more connected, efficient, and student-friendly admissions and payment experience. Over the next 45 minutes, we'll look at today's student journeys and expectations, unpack the latest insights from Flywire European research, and hear firsthand from Emily, who will share how her team at IESEG is shaping their applicant experience. We'll wrap up with a Q&A session, so you'll have a chance to share your own experiences and ask any questions to the panelists. And without further ado, let's get started, and I'll hand over to Tanya to kick things off.
Thank you, Marta, and welcome everyone. Delighted to be here alongside Javier and Emily. I wanted to start by talking a little bit more about the student journey and the student mindset before we get to see in real time how it will work. I think it's important to understand that nowadays students have more information and more choice than ever before, really. Around 83% of students apply to 3 or more, and 36% apply to 7 or more institutions. And it doesn't stop there. I think for me, the most surprising stat was the last one, where we see that 44% of students are now putting multiple deposits down to really hedge their bets really at the end of the student journey, and trying to see where they want to go at the last minute. And what this really means for you as universities is that you're competing at every single interaction and touch point, and making your life even harder than it was before. So from the moment a student visits the website, to starting an application, to making the deposit, all the way to arrival, those are all essential touch points that really make or break their decision. And that's why mapping the student journey is now essential. And every touch point is a chance to move the student forward or lose them to another institution that feels faster, more responsive, and better equipped to meet their expectations. And in the next slide, we'll see that meeting those expectations are not easy nowadays. So I often tell our clients that they are working with the most demanding customers, students. And in a way, rightly so, because they're putting their education in the hands of these universities. It's a big decision. But I think more importantly than that is that they now live in a different reality. They cannot imagine life without smartphones, instant information, and they bring the expectation from services like they're used Amazon, Netflix, Uber, to higher education. They expect that same kind of experience when they interact with your university. They want something seamless, integrated, transparent, self-service, intuitive, fast, and personalized. But the reality is often not that. Many institutions are still relying on legacy systems and manual processes, moving too slowly to meet these expectations. And that mismatch of expectations, and Javi will talk a little bit more about that as we go along, is exactly where universities risk losing their students and to more agile competitors. And to understand the level of expectation, the next slide shows evidence of that. I think this shows how much the expectation has changed. This Great State report shows that 70% of students already said that they expect their university digital experience to be as good as Amazon or Netflix. But even more important than that, or more striking in a way, is 50% said the quality of the digital experience actually determined their university choice. So reinforcing that all these touch points actually have an impact on where they decide. So it's not just a nice to have anymore, it becomes a deciding factor to where students choose to go. And in the next slide, what we want to do is zoom out and see the admission journey with you. And I think when you zoom out, we understand, and this is often something we do with our clients, to map the student journey from initially inquiry to enrollment. And more often than not, we understand it's an emotional roller coaster for both students and their families. And it's always like that. There are moments of excitement when they make their decision on what to study, when they start engaging the first time with the universities and seeing their possibilities, their career outcomes, all of that excitement to receiving an offer, arriving on campus, which is also a great moment. But there are also moments of great stress and uncertainty, particularly when they have to complete an application, which is sometimes overwhelming. They need to find their documents, complete all the requirements, to waiting for updates and not being certain what the update will be, to preparing for an interview, navigating payments, visa documentation. And what we've seen is often in those touch points when there's a low moment or a moment of stress, that's actually when there was less communication from universities. The high point was when universities were already sending a lot of communication. But every single of these touch points are important, both the low moments, the neutral and the high. And these are the opportunity that you have to build confidence with the students. And so if there's silence in those moments of uncertainty, that's when they actually go and look for help somewhere else. And that confidence, it's not just to help the student, it also to help the university understand where they are and help with forecasts. So for universities, specifically those with the low yield, this is where you can have increased visibility and engagement, and that makes a huge difference. Institutions that provide an admitted student port, that have clear communication during these stages, always see stronger conversion and few surprises at the end. And one of the key steps, and that's the step that we'll go in more detail today, is actually the deposit payment. For many students, especially the international ones, that's the payment. The payment stage is often daunting. It's difficult. It's different currencies, different systems, different deadlines, and it's actually the ultimate. Well, not the ultimate, because we now see that they sometimes put multiple deposits. But it's when the biggest commitment is made. And that's really where I'll now hand over to Javi from Flywire, who'll take us inside the student payer mindset and really focus how we can together make this process less of a roller coaster, if you will, and more streamlined for both students and staff members.
Thank you, Tanya. If we go to the next slide, we are going to be dipping in one of the parts of the roller coaster, as Tanya was mentioning, that is the payments. In Flywire, we wanted to increase our knowledge on the student experience while they are doing the payment. So what we did was taking 6 top business schools in mainland Europe and surveyed more than 1,000 students, but also we did different focus groups with them. And one of the first discoveries that we made during that process was that many institutions think that payments and the student journey are a separate thing. But the reality is that when you ask a student about their payment, they are going to be talking about the whole journey. And the reason behind it is that even before choosing the university that they are going to be studying with, they are already thinking on how they are going to be funding and moving the money. And one of the interesting things is that you will think that these students will go to the universities and ask, how can I make my payment? But the reality is that they tend to ask the parents, the sponsors, and their peers. And they are the ones that shaping their decisions from day one. Another of the things that we discovered is that we are always talking about the student on the student journey. But in this part of the journey, we are also including the parents of the students. So we discovered that nearly 75% of the undergrads tuitions are paid by their parents, and 50% of the postgrad tuition is paid by the student themselves. We were talking about that gap between the student experience and the reality. And in their research, we discovered a point that was a little bit concerning. And is that 1 out of 7 students rate their confidence in online payments less than 5 out of 10. And the reason behind this is the past experience that they had with online payments and the current experiences that they are having with online payments. And when we are talking about international students, online payments are a critical part of that enrollment. So if we go to the next slide, we will go again to that gap, as Tanya was saying before, of the expectations and the reality. The expectations of the students, as Tanya said, is they want something like Netflix or something like Amazon. But the reality is that while they expect something seamless, digital, self-serve, clear, with a strong communication, with a transparent fees that is in one coherent journey, the reality that they have is the communication is slow, especially with international students, because we have the different time zones. And often unclear. We have the language barriers while we are communicating with those students. They keep being pushed from one system to another, and they have to bring extra documentations. So they have a fragmented experience that feels completely disjointed in front of that one coherent journey that we were talking about. And as Tanya was saying, the student journey, there has parts that are really stressful, and payments is one of those. So students, when they can self-serve, they start flooding the school with different queries. And I know that many of you today here are from the admissions team, and you will probably be receiving those different questions of, have you received my payment? Have you received my bank transfer? Where is my bank transfer? Sorry, have you received my bank transfer? I know that I asked you yesterday, but have you received it yet? Because they are stressed, they are worried. And if we go to the next slide, in the payer research, we wanted to deepen our knowledge on what worries the students during the payment. First of all, what we discovered is that safety is the most important thing. Safety is the #1 priority for students when making payments. Then the next thing is that many students couldn't use their preferred payment method, and they expect to be using their preferred payment method. And when I'm saying this, I mean that a student from China wants to pay with Yuan, with WeChat, and Alipay. A student from Brazil wants to use Pago Parcelado or Pix. So they want to use payment methods they are familiar with, so they feel more comfortable. And lastly, 53% contact the school when guidance is unclear. We have 53% of students asking the questions that I was mentioning before, but also we have a 47% of students that are not inquiring the school, are asking their parents, their peers, their colleagues. So this is not the ideal process. And the main reason behind this normally is that we don't have a clear point of communication regarding the payments of the students. If we go to the next slide, there is this sentence that is, the process is held up if payments aren't integrated. So as we are seeing, if payments are integrated, this is problematic. Payments are problematic, but this is a double-edged sword. When the payments are integrated, students move forward in the student journey with confidence. If we go to the next slide, we will see that the payments drive the process, but if they are not integrated, then we have fees and deposits that are critical for enrollment process and are being delayed. We have unclear or inconsistent communication, and then we have, as I was saying again and again, we have a surge in student inquiries, and of course, an operational inefficiency for the admissions and administration teams at the universities. And there is one that is the most risky of them all, and it's the deposit payments. Tanya was already saying that the different students make payments to deposit payments to different universities. So when a student is not able to pay the deposit payment that is directly related with their visa process, we have the risk of losing a student that was committing to our university and is going to go to a faster moving competitor with a better and integrated enrollment and payment process. But this is the bad side of things. If we go to the next slide, we are going to be seeing that if we properly integrate our payments inside of our student journey, they pass to being like something problematic to a tool for enrollment. First of all, payments are conversion levers. When we are talking about application fees that many of you in admissions will be familiar with, it's an efficient tool, an effective tool to shape the quality of the applicants and clean our pipeline. I know that many of you are from admissions, and as I said, that I know that many of you are receiving not hundreds, but even thousands of applicants every single year, and you have to go through every single one of them. And that is difficult and problematic. With the application fees, we are making this process easier. And then the deposits. They are a key trigger for conversion. Once a student has made the deposit with the university, we have more stickiness with the students. We are more sure that the student is going to be coming to study with us. And if they don't have issues with the visa or that we don't have a faster moving competitor, we know that the student the next year is going to be studying with us. But to have these conversion levers and to have this positive payment experience, we have to cover the different student needs. And students are asking for flexible installments options and extended payment windows. They are asking for the ability to split payments across multiple cards or methods, to have clear region-specific guidance on the fees and FX, and immediate confirmation for both the students and, as I was mentioning, the parents on their payment status. And now, I'm sorry, I'm going to be talking about Flywire for a bit, but one of the key data that we got from the research is that 96% of the platform users recall using Flywire as the provider. So when they use a platform that is useful, they remember it. And I'm saying that it's applied for a platform that is useful because Flywire scored the highest on clarity, speed, ease of use, and payment tracking. The reason behind this is that they see how much they are going to pay in their local currency. They have access to support in their own language, in their time zone, and also they have clarity on the payment tracking and they keep receiving notification on where their money is, so they don't go to you and start asking 100 questions. So students consistently associate Flywire with safety and transparency. And in the next slide, we are going to be seeing the reason that we are here today and the reason that Flywire is collaborating so strongly with Full Fabric. Full Fabric is an ideal tool that offers a seamless applications and admission journey for the students. And Flywire, as we were seeing, is a trusted, transparent, and offers secure payments to the students. Separated, both are great solutions, but together, they are an integrated student experience, not disjointed, a coherent, integrated student experience that builds confidence, reduces admin workload, and accelerates the conversion of the students. So when the trusted Flywire experience is delivered through Full Fabric, institutions get both efficiency and a student journey that builds confidence. So after all my gibberish, now we are going to be seeing a real example. We are going to be seeing an institution that is using Full Fabric and Flywire, an institution that actually was part of that payer research that I was mentioning, and an institution, a business school that is a reference in mainland Europe. Emily?
Yeah, thank you very much, Javier. And thank you very much for having me today. So as you said at the beginning of the presentation, so I do manage recruitment and admissions at IESEG, and I work with a fabulous team across the globe. My teammates are based in Shanghai, in Delhi, in Chennai, in Dakar, in Paris, in Lille, in the north of France, and in Bogota. And our role is very strategic, is to attract international talents to either our bachelor, master, short-term or MBA program. And that is why having a solid admission platform is key for us, as well as a payment platform which fits the international candidates' needs and expectations. So before working with Fullfabric and Flywire, our admission and finance processes were solid, but a bit fragmented. A few years ago, applications were completed on a platform, but candidates had to submit and sign their form and to send it by email. This meant an incredible number of emails for one single application, sending attachments, confirming the receipt, chasing after the signature, and the payments were managed separately as well. Candidates often wanted to make sure that their application fee had been received, but with the bank delays in France, sometimes up to 48 hours, our team had to wait before confirming, then to follow up manually. So all this was extremely time consuming, and not only for the recruitment and admission team, but also for many other departments involved in the process at IESEG. So this setup worked when volumes were smaller, but as IESEG grew internationally, it became clear that we reached a limit. We wanted to modernize, not only because our system was broken, but because it no longer matched the expectation of our candidates. Today, applicants, as you were saying, Tanya and Javier, applicants expect immediacy, transparency, and the ability to complete everything online, from the application to the payment, and no matter where they are in the world. So our goal was therefore simple: to simplify everything. Less manual handovers, less email, and a smoother and more intuitive candidate journey for everyone involved. So as we can see on the next slide, when we started rethinking admissions at IESEG, we didn't want to just add a new software independently. We wanted to connect everything to make sure the information could flow naturally from one step to the next. Previously, each department, admission, finance, recruitment, worked within own tools and timelines. But this led to the duplication of effort and very small delays which were added to the process. So our approach was to build like a single and unified process which reflects the way the candidates move through their journey, from the first contact to the application to the payment and then to the enrollment. And to achieve that, we have decided to integrate two platforms, so Fullfabric for admissions and Flywire for the payments, as part of the digital transformation project. And on the slide right after, so you can see that for candidates, actually the biggest improvement has been clarity. The platform guides them step by step from the document upload to the payments with clear instructions and automatic confirmations. This has reduced uncertainty and stress, especially for international students who often face quite long administrative procedures. And another key point was the autonomy for our teams. So now with Fullfabric, we can update everything, the programs, the forms, the deadlines, without waiting for our IT internally. So this makes us faster and more responsive. And on the slide just after, there is a screenshot about the payments. So for payments, Flywire has brought reliability and clarity. It secures transaction, and candidate and admission team have the instant confirmation. And it makes easier for us to track the payments for us and for the candidates. So together, these two tools completely change the rhythm of our work, and processes that used to be a bit heavy before now appear to be very natural. And we also noticed that candidates complete their application faster and they make fewer errors. The interface reassures them in their file is processing, and they receive instant proof when payments are made. So in short, this is a more transparent and confident journey for everyone. And on the slide after, for the IESEG team, the impact has been noticeable as well. We save time every day. We spend less time on cross-checking everything, sending some manual reminders, matching payments and everything. The automatic notification and the shared dashboards mean that everyone across the different departments at IESEG see the same information in real time. And this improves the coordination between admission, finance, and recruitment. And what was the most important for us is, and in all this, actually this enables to focus on what really matters for the recruitment and admissions. I mean, to get some meaningful communication with candidates and a personalized support. The human part of admission, which was before a bit squeezed by the administrative load, has regained its space in the process. And on the slide after, just sharing, since we have implemented these systems, we have noticed some measurable improvements. Time saving has been significant. Sometimes that some tasks that used to take hours before are now completed in few minutes. Payment verification, and status are updated almost instantly. And internally, the communication between admission, finance, and recruitment teams has become much more smoother. Everyone works on the same data. This reduces a lot of misunderstandings and back and forth email and improves the decision making. And from the candidate side, the feedback is extremely positive. We conduct annual surveys, and they describe the process as simple, quick, and transparent. Many of our candidates mention that they feel reassured to receive confirmation right away. So overall, the experience became faster and more consistent, and that directly strengthened our image of a welcoming international institution.
Great. Maybe we can go with some questions to Emily now. I have one here at Flywire, if I can start, Emily. So, and you've already highlighted the before and after, but thinking about specific outcomes that moved, thinking about the last admission cycle versus the most recent one, what are the outcomes that you see that moved the most after you streamline the admissions and payments?
In a nutshell, I would say that in terms of improvements about the last admission cycle, admissions offer have been sent faster than before. We noticed that we got more applications for more applicants who have completed their files, and the enrollment ratio has increased. This efficiency allows us to maintain the high quality service and gives our team more time to engage personally with candidates. This is one of the key points at IESEG. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, it does. I think there's a few more on the chat, but I'll let Marta run those.
Yes. So we already have quite 4 questions, some for Emily, I'd say most of them. So we can start with those. Was there anything that surprised you during the implementation at IESEG? Maybe a process that turned out simpler or more impactful than expected?
So during the implementation, you mean?
Well, I'd say maybe it's post-implementation, so maybe the first immediate impacts that you've seen.
So talking about the first steps of our collaboration, first, I was really surprised how smooth the implementation was. At the very beginning of the collaboration, I shared all my specific requirements with the technical team, and they really took everything into consideration. And so after that, they trained me on the final tool, and I had already like a ready-to-use solution. Everything was already set up and worked perfectly, exactly as I needed. And whenever I asked like a technical question to the support and technical team, the answer was always yes, that's feasible. Here's how to do, here's how to manage, you can change this and that. So it gave me real confidence in both the system and the flexibility that we have.
Great. Now I'm going to Javier, there's a question for you as well. I was wondering what trends you're seeing in how universities are adapting their payments processes to meet student expectations.
Sorry, I was muted. So I'm seeing two different approaches. The first of them is the safety part. What universities are asking for is to see the model that we have here today. Instead of trying to send bank details completely separated or sending open link to make the payment, what they are asking for is integrated solutions, like the one that we are presenting here today with Full Fabric. The idea is that once the student starts with an application system, they never have to exit the application system to the payment, because it's a matter of trust. If you receive a random bank account number that you have to send your funds out to outside of outside of your onboarding process inside of, for example, Full Fabric, then it's problematic. So first of all, they are asking to have that integrated experience that feels safer for the student. And secondly, what we are seeing a lot is we have to understand the context of mainland Europe. Right now, the demographic pyramids are saying that the population is decreasing, so a lot of universities are going to the international market, plus having a lot of different countries and international students getting more and more and more interested into Europe. They have to be global but local. So they are asking, we are seeing a lot of requests for new payment methods to have to have, for example, as I was saying, payment methods from China, from Brazil, from Colombia, from Mexico, to have that local experience from the student while they are a global business school and university, and as I was saying, completely integrated. And lastly, they are asking, of course, for the Netflix and Amazon that Tanya was mentioning, even in the payment. So what they are expecting now is, for example, having the payment plans that we have together right now. They are asking for having recurring card payments with the tokenization of credit cards. They are having to have that experience that feels like Netflix or Amazon for the students. So those, I will say, that are the three trends that we are seeing most in the universities right now, an answer to the payer research that we have done.
Thank you. Now I have one for Tanya. We're using Salesforce at our university. Could we use Full Fabric too? Does it integrate with Salesforce? What other system does Full Fabric work with?
That's a great question and a common one. Yes, indeed. So Full Fabric connects with many other tools, including other CRMs. So we have, specifically for Salesforce, we have Salesforce Connector that allows data to sync automatically between both systems. And that way you can keep Salesforce as your CRM and data backbone, and lay a Full Fabric on top for higher education specific operations, specifically the commerce, admissions, enrollment, and everything that you've seen today. In addition to Salesforce, yes, we do integrate with other CRMs such as HubSpot, Microsoft Dynamics, with payment partners like Flywire, where it's a native integration. So there's no need to use our API. And we have a bunch of other native integrations like DocuSign, Intercom, Kira Talent, Google Analytics, as well as our API. And the goal is always to integrate Full Fabric in the existing tech stack, and as much as possible to make that seamless. And so whether using our API or native integrations, part of the onboarding is to map the existing tech stack to see what can we replace and what do we need to integrate with.
Great, that makes sense. Now back at you, Emily. I wonder how soon did you see the noticeable positive impact after implementing the changes?
Actually, it has been very, very quick. From the first weeks of implementation, when we received our first application, the automation system, automatic reminders had already an impact very quickly after receiving the first application.
Great, thank you.
Talking about the admission part and the ministerial jury and everything. So yeah, only talking about the first part within the candidate journey, this really changed a lot.
Great. So this one, I guess you can also answer this one. Any advice for someone who just starting a big digital overhaul transformation? It's been overwhelming.
No, this is not overwhelming, I would say, but you should focus, you should concentrate and to make sure exactly what you want to propose to your candidates and as part of your admission and recruitment process. As long as you're clear with yourself, then you will be able to share with the technical teams, and then they will create the customized tool for your institution. But first of all, just be clear with exactly what you want.
Perfect. And maybe here, Tanya, I was going to say either Tanya or Javier could step in because they can basically walk through the process of implementing or doing this transformation.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I think it's a common feeling to particularly at the beginning to feel a little bit overwhelmed, and it's normal. And I think there's several points that are important to highlight. One is technology is important, and I can say that on behalf of Full Fabric, but it's not just about technology. I think it's technology with people and processes, and altogether it's what's going to make the difference. So I think whatever, again, at the beginning of the digital transformation process is not just simply clicking on a button and adding a new technology, is really rethinking the entire journey. And that's why I think sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And my biggest piece of advice often to clients is start small as well. Like there's no need to change everything at the same time, particularly if you identify critical parts of the student journey where you see the biggest gap or where expectations are lowest, start there. And so I think there's definitely ways to start smaller and start seeing wins. You don't have to do everything in the same month or in the same moment. And I think that's very important, again, to start smaller and start smart and choose where to start before you do the entire overhaul, if that's what you want to do.
Yes, that's great advice. So we have a couple more here for Emily. So this one, well, these are two questions from Iana. So the first one is how business schools can automate invoicing process so that invoices can be generated from payment plans and sent to students. And how do you handle the situations where students receive partial or full sponsorship from their company and need separate invoices? So I guess this is a bit around how you manage that flexible payments. And Javier, maybe you can also help answering this one.
Yeah, I start answering the second part of the question, and this might answer the first part. When I have some candidates where have received partial or full sponsorship or scholarship from their company or any other institution, I do create two different payment plans, basically. So that on Flywire, they have two different links so that the company, let's say, for example, can pay for the first amount, and then the student, the candidate, will pay for the second one. And then this creates two separate invoices.
Yeah.
Am I right, Javier?
Yeah, that's one of the many solutions that we can have. The main idea is, and this comes to the question that we had before. I wanted also to add that track your partners. Don't try to do things by yourself. I see many universities that start with really complex projects where they want to create their own systems and their own integrations and everything ad hoc. When you have Full Fabric, you have us where we can help you. We have experience and we have seen many times what you are seeing today at your institutions with many other cases. In the case of IESEG, that's the perfect answer that we saw for that case. And when we are talking about payment plans, in the case of, for example, the integration that we have with Full Fabric, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. We already have functional payment plans where you can set different payment installments for your student and make things really easier for them, really easy for them. In the case of the payment plans, in the case of different payments, we can create different invoices for the different payers.
And maybe it's worth highlighting, and that's, I think, something more recent, but the ability to have third-party payments. So as an applicant, if they want to request a company or a parent to make that payment, they have that ability to do so, split a payment into multiple payers, and that could potentially solve that problem.
Great. We have another one here. Emily, during your presentation, you mentioned that you'd be more independent from IT, but there's a question here asking how much the school IT department need to be involved to integrate Flywire and Full Fabric. So maybe you can answer that one from your experience.
So yes, do not tell my colleagues of the IT department that I'm completely independent from them. So no, at the very first steps of the integration, my colleagues of the IT department were involved when this requires some like technical implementation, technical details. But now that everything is settled, I do not need them anymore. And when I mean that I'm completely independent from them, is that when I need to update, to rephrase, to change a little bit my application forms, for example, I can do it. The whole process, the whole 26 application process has been done in half a day. Just sharing an example. So IT department is still important, but on a daily basis, I'm completely independent with that.
And maybe just to highlight that specifically for the integration, because it's a native integration, it doesn't need any development via the API. So basically, we need some information from your Flywire portal, and you input that information into Full Fabric. So there's no development required. It's a native integration. So of course, IT will probably be involved in the approval, but from a implementation perspective, the involvement required is minimal.
I cannot add anything else.
Great. So we have a couple more questions, and then I guess we can wrap up. So one of the questions that we have here is, what are your next steps? So I assume this is addressed to you, Emily. If any, have you further improvements that you are looking to deliver, process systems, or is it everything fine as it is?
I would say that everything is fine at the moment, but at IESEG, we're still and always looking at some improvements to enhance the candidate's journey. So with my team, we are constantly thinking to improvements to make the process easier, to propose some video interviews, to change a little bit our process. But I would say that I think we reach at least 90% of what we wanted to do.
Okay, perfect. And
maybe I can add just a little bit more to that, because I think from Full Fabric and Flywire perspective, I think we have a solid foundation, but there's a lot more that we would still like to see coming. And I think the answer, and this is not only for Full Fabric in itself, but to the integration, and it's ongoing, and we'll always learn with clients that have more ideas of how they would like to use. But specifically to give a specific one of the reports that we are enhancing is, for example, a financial report to clients, where not only they see the enrolled students per cohort, but actually financial reporting, which is based on exactly transactions coming from Flywire. So I think the answer for us on the technical side is no. It's we have a solid foundation, but there's more to come, and clients are at the front wheel of that, suggesting new ideas and what they would like to add to this specific integration and functionality.
Yeah, again, Tanya had a perfect answer for that one. But I will say that one of the pleasures of working with Full Fabric and collaborating has been that we have a solid foundation, and we could say we have had enough. But the reality is that we are constantly finding new ways through the different clients that we have together to bring new products of Flywire integrated with Full Fabric, and also new functionalities inside of Full Fabric related with the finance and the payments, that makes this integration that is so simple to set up more and more useful for the different schools.
Perfect. So I'm going to end with the last question that we have here and tweak it slightly, because you already touched quite a bit on this, Emily. What's been the most surprising change you've seen since implementing Full Fabric and Flywire? But I just wanted to tweak it so you could, if you could describe this partnership in one sentence, what it would be.
In one sentence, well, I would quote flexibility, adaptability, just thinking about keywords, and like a ready-to-use solution. And this makes the whole process, again, for our teams and the candidates, everything smoother.
Perfect. I think that we can wrap up the Q&A now on this high positive note. And I would say that we had really insightful questions and really interesting answers as well. So thank you all so much for taking part. A big thank you to our speakers and who joined the conversations. As a small thank you, we've prepared 2 resources that we hope you'll find useful. You can simply scan the QR code on the screen to get access. And lastly, would really appreciate if you could take 30 seconds to complete our short feedback survey. So thanks again for being with us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.